on record. So that's recording. It's just that it's got a record thing on my where my name is.
It says on my screen recording right now. So
okay, so we are being recorded. Okay. Well, welcome to the 7 Chakra workshop, and today is all about the Swadhisthana, which is the sacral chakra. So, as you know, we've spoken about this before, and for those who have missed it, I'll just do a quick run through it. So we start with the Muladhara, which we did last week, and that's all about the root chakra. So today is the Swadhisthana, which is the sacral. And then next week will be the Manipura, which is about the gut, the stomach. And then we move to the heart, and then the Vishuddhi, which is the throat, and the Ajna, which is the third eye, and then lastly Sahasrara, which is the crown. So trying to make it short and sweet, let's move on to Swadhisthana. So that's the sacral, as you can see, if you've got the PowerPoint, which we will upload later, and you'll get a look at that. So where is the Swadhisthana? Where is it located? So it's at the same level. It's at the base of the spinal column, and it's at the level of the coccyx, the tailbone, and the pubic bone. So it lies somewhere in between that. And I remember Jen did a workshop on Swadhisthana, and we all had to put our hands on our pubic bone to try and access and to feel where that was. And we had to rub some ointment or something that you gave us to put on it. It was like some kind of
it was oil. So the best way to do this, like, because your chakras run along your spine, right? So on the back side of your body. So a lot of times people think the chakras are on the front of the body. That's actually called the castrum. So the chakras are on the back side. So the coccyx, that little like bump just above your behind crack. But the castrum is actually the pubic bone for this chakra. So when you take your finger and you find the lowest point where that little bony structure is, and you can look in the mirror as well to kind of see where it is, it's just inside the back of your body from that. And it's not that far above the Muladhara. So there's not that much space from there.
Which is why a lot of the emotions and a lot of stuff interlink with the Muladhara.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously in that area, it therefore corresponds with the urinary tract and the reproductive systems. So, you know, if you have problems with going to the toilet or cystitis, things like that, and reproductive issues, that's linked with the Swadhisthana.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So moving on, what does it do? It's connected to change. So therefore the shadow side is connected to procrastination. Yet procrastination is very, very closely linked to our get up and go, which is what we experience if the Manipura doesn't work. So you can see how these are all interrelated. So one chakra blends in nicely to the other chakra. So you get a sense of, like, you know, you want to change, you want to do something new. That's from the Swadhisthana, but also the lack of it. It means that you, you know, can't be bothered sort of thing, which we all seem to be experiencing a lot of during the pandemic, because, you know, you think that, you know, not much is going on and you have to really push yourself to drive yourself to do something. So
it's true.
Yeah. So it is also connected to flow, duality, and the attraction of opposites, and also the creativity and passion, sexuality, and freedom. And I remember your workshop, Jen, you actually talked about taste as well. It was connected to taste.
Yeah, and you know, we talked a little bit about the senses last week and the senses associated with the Muladhara. And we were kind of talking back and forth, like, why, you know? But our bodies are connected in a way that our senses are affected. So whenever you're not, if, for example, the Muladhara feeling necessarily safe, you're not so focused on what you're smelling.
No.
You know, that sense may be dull. The same thing with the sacral chakra is that, you know, if you're not feeling very confident or you're not having a lot of self-respect, maybe you're having emotional conflicts within yourself or with other people, having issues understanding the emotional side of things, or kind of meeting people where they are, then this can dull the taste. because you're not paying attention to the other senses. They're just there, they're doing their job, but they're not like a prevalent, or that it's not like a priority in your life. You're focusing on other things. So taste is really interesting. And actually this chakra particularly is associated with vegetarianism. So if you want to really help move the energy in your Swadhisthana, focus on eating really good foods, nice, delicious fruits, if they're available in your area during the season, maybe, vegetables, and eating a nice vegetarian diet. And this actually helps release that flow. And it has to do with the goddess that's associated with the chakra, Rakini. And she is the overseer of vegetables, which is kind of interesting. But eat your vegetables anyway. They're really good for you. So
absolutely. So, it's important that we, exactly. Good diet and get the Swadhisthana moving, and yeah.
Of course. Of course. And another interesting thing is they associate this chakra, or like the word purgatory is used.
Purgatory, yes, that's right.
And another thing with this is, and what we don't realize, and this may be going a little too deep, but we have this thing from our past lives and from our karma in this lifetime called samskaras. And basically what that is, it's a scar on your soul. So your soul like remembers your past lives, things that you did, things you should have done. Because, at night we all have those things, like replaying things in our mind of how we would have responded differently. Yeah. That how you can kind of relate to it. And that associates with that purgatory aspect of you're just kind of reliving these moments, even though you're not necessarily consciously aware that they're happening or that they affect you. They do. Yeah. And so this is where the seat of that purgatory lies, that you put in here, like it's associated with, and later in the slide, and when you guys see the slides, when we post the video, it's associated with change. And with change is like you can make the decision to procrastinate or kind of repeat cycles, or you can make the decision to change a habit or a way of thinking or how to move forward. And that's what's really integral about the sacral chakra, is that this is where the seat of those decisions lie. So you can stay in purgatory, or you can move on from it.
Exactly.
And so I think this is a great chakra to focus on when it comes to dealing with narcissistic relationships. If you're in one now, or you may have been in one, this is a good chakra to focus on.
Exactly. It helps you with that get up and change and do something for yourself in a positive way. Yeah,
absolutely.
And which also then brings you to freedom, that sense of having freedom. You'll
change, of course,
make those changes. You'll then encounter the freedom that you've always wanted, because if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always had. So
exactly.
So what does this Swadhisthana correspond to? So we looked at different ways that the chakras correspond to us. So the descriptive word is I feel. So how am I feeling? So you feel, you're feeling. The force is magnetism. The sense is taste, which I said earlier on. Food is liquids. So maybe smoothies or juices, things like that. The element is water. The color is orange. The celestial body is the moon. The creature and animal is a crocodile or a fish, or maybe both. Interesting. Do you want to comment on that, Jen?
Yeah, I can, because it's really interesting how it ties in. And sometimes we're thinking we just need to focus on the characteristics, but then you hear the creature, animal is a crocodile. Wow, why? What does that mean? Yeah. And in a lot of this, and even with a lot of spiritual practices, there is a lot of animal reference and animal energy that can be used. For example, Lord Ganesha, we can include that. But the crocodile is the vehicle which carries the whole phantom of unconscious life. It symbolizes the subterranean movement of the karmas. So before, when I mentioned, we have those samskaras, or those scars on our soul from past lives or karma in this life, the crocodile carries those from one life to another. So this is how we maybe have our inherent tendencies that you're like, I don't know why I do this, but it's just what I've always done. The crocodile brought it to you.
Oh, that's the crocodile's fault.
This life. Yeah, so it's just
interesting.
use it for what you like.
Or even if you just want to think of a crocodile when you're meditating on the Swadhisthana, that might help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because some people may have an easier time, because you can focus on the color, the characteristics, and some people, just prefer focusing on the animal, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah, exactly. So then physical side of things, it's frigidity or impotence, pelvic or lower back issues perhaps, and we talked earlier about urinary problems. So those are the physical manifestations of if the Swadhisthana does not work. And obviously if it does work, then those things are much better. Emotionally, it connects to our possessiveness, territorial, jealousy, and on a good side, it's expansive. It makes you love your neighbor, feel love for the other human or the other creature, whatever it is. I think for me, spending time in India, it brought out the ahimsa side of me, which is like the non-violence to living creatures. I became more tuned into that, so because we had a lot of cows and dogs that came to visit us. So
yeah, and that makes perfect sense, because in my regular world in existence, like, I don't walk out my front door and 5 cows come to greet me. That doesn't happen. So yeah, being there, and then like you wake up to the cows mooing outside your window in the morning because they want their breakfast. Exactly. Like, they remember, and it's just, you develop a different level of compassion for living things, because they're right there, and it's usually these creatures kept behind a fence that you just never interact with. So
you don't throw away food either. It's just like, oh well, I can't eat all of this, but I know someone who can.
Yeah, they're always there waiting.
They're happy to take off, the chapatis. We couldn't how many chapatis we had, but yes, yeah. So moving on from that, so what happens if the Swadhisthana is blocked or unbalanced? So I've got here exhibitionism. So that's interesting. So you feel like that you need to show yourself off, and with a sense of lack of self-esteem that's attached to that as well, that you feel that you have to prove to other people that you are inadequate, because in reality you're inadequate. You feel that you're inadequate. So therefore that brings on shallow relationships, which is often then the outcome of that can be guilt, and then shame of your own body, sexuality, and then perhaps you've been a person who is the wild child, someone who hasn't really grown up properly. Yeah, so that's all connected to the unbalanced Swadhisthana. So
yeah, and I mean, a lot of these characteristics come across to me as, have you ever come across someone, and maybe it was the narcissist in your life, that always behaved in a way or felt in a way that they had something to prove?
Yes, always. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And typically when you have that deep-seated need for validation, you're going to always resort to, because there's 2 sides to everything, like you can show your not so flattering side, or you can show your light side. And I think sometimes in those types of relationships with, like, that duality that we're talking about, that the exhibitionism, the results or behaviors associated with feeling inadequate, having very shallow relationships, or feeling shame, and of course the wild behavior that can manifest to kind of, I need to prove myself, I need to prove a point, look at me. The other thing is I know I, like, with teenagers, right? Because I was kind of this way too, is that anything my parents said, I always took as like, they already don't trust me. They already think I'm a horrible person, and I'm already doing these things. So I'm just going to perpetuate this behavior.
Yeah.
Right. So you're like, you think you're right, I'm going to prove you right. When in their mind, they weren't accusing or doing, accusing me of anything. It was all in me. Like, I need to prove something.
Exactly. it's like we've got this massive hang up because we think we already know, but actually we're learning, we're growing, aren't we? And it's that kind of like sense of really being very not to say selfish, but really oh, what's the word, thinking that you're the best, you know, thinking that you're better than other people. Really lost that word. It'll come back to me when
Or just only looking at things very one-sided.
Yes.
And not trying to understand where the other side is coming from. And that's a large characteristic of, you know, energy being stuck in the sacral chakra is, you know, only seeing things one way, only perpetuating one thought instead of trying to understand where someone else is coming from or relate to them or meet them where they are. You always feel like someone has to meet you where you are. Well, if they don't get me, they don't like me, they don't, fine, whatever, I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh.
yeah. So from that, and then when we're healthy and when things are flowing really well for the Swadhisthana, is the ability to initiate. So we were talking about being stuck and being in purgatory. So it's that ability to then say, right, I'm gonna start this project. I'm gonna do this, initiate something. And the empathy towards others. So instead of feeling like you know, stuck in your own head, and like Jen was saying, that you know that you feel that you're right and no one else is right but you know. So that's being able to get out of that and to feel empathy and to actually experience what other people are going through as well. And the generosity and willingness to share experiences. So being able to feel vulnerable in front of other people, you know, that's quite a difficult one because we always want to be in control, and this control freak side of us stops us from asking for help when we actually do need help. We all need help, you know.
Of course.
Yeah. And then genuine intimacy. So that's, you know, you understand about genuine intimacy and to have an intimate relationship with someone, and how, you know, the differences and how special that is, and to be able to experience that wholeheartedly. I think that's a big part of the Swadhisthana working properly as well, because like we talked about before, if it doesn't work, then you're having very shallow relationships. So being able to be genuinely intimate with someone, it's not just about sex, it's about intimate vulnerability, all those things. Yeah,
exactly.
So then we've got mutual empowering relationships that come from that, and obviously your passion for life, and then obviously feeling expansive, feeling that you have so much love in you that you can share it with everyone, and there's so much more. So
right,
that's the ultimate.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Because and I'm sure a lot of people in this group can relate, a lot of people in general can relate, that when it comes to those mutual empowering relationships, have you ever been in a friendship or relationship with someone where you felt like you were the one that was always initiating contact or trying to set up a time to meet or conversation, meaningful conversation, or doing something creative or productive? Like you were always the one that was really working harder than the other.
yeah, I've been there lots of times. And it's like, why am I the only one doing this? Is it not important, you know?
Right, I'm just left out to dry all the time. And so a part of having a good, clear, and healthy Swadhisthana is recognizing when you're that person, when you're that person that is always reaching and you're giving, you know, 80% and they're not pulling their weight. Like that's a good sign of a balanced sacral chakra, is you saying, you know what, why am I giving so much?
Exactly. Knowing your boundaries, isn't it? It's about understanding your boundaries, and if people aren't interested, then that's it, stop it. You know, don't try to people please them, because the people pleasing side of things will then make you a victim, and then you'll go back into that cycle again by being walked over. So that's what we're trying to get out of. And so this is a good point for the Swadhisthana, and how to clear this up, then that will work on those issues that are underlying, which is again very much connected to the root chakra. So it's like a spectrum, isn't it? It starts low, and then it's all kind of like it connects to the next one. That makes sense.
Right. Well, it's kind of like this wheel, and you imagine like water flowing on this wheel, and then it just kind of still catches that next little bit of water and that next little bit of water, and it takes it
Yeah, it joins
up
to the
and up.
next one, and yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But I will tell you now, people, just so you know, not everyone is one-sided. So there are people out there that are willing to have a 50-50 relationship, where it's a friendship or a family member relationship or a romantic partnership. There are people out there that will like cooperate, meet you halfway, so you don't have to do all the work. So don't think you have to settle all the time. Like, and if they're not working with you, then go find someone else, like try someone else out and be like, oh yeah, they're meeting me. There are people out there, you know?
And sometimes when you're not even trying, like I got together with my current partner, Ed, when I was actually with my ex-husband. I was not expecting that at all, but I got to see what my ex-husband was really like. In contrast, our relationship, I was able to see what I should be experiencing, and then I started to value myself a lot more, and then realize, you know what, I don't want this relationship that I'm having with my ex-husband anymore. And that was it.
Right.
No looking back. But sometimes it takes maybe someone else to actually come into the picture and show you, this is what love actually means. Did you know that?
Yeah. And if there's no one else coming in,
It doesn't matter.
you still don't have to deal with that person that isn't doing their part. Just save that energy and use it on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Because the best
Don't waste it on them.
no, the best relationship you can have is the one that you have with yourself. And once you love that person that you are, my gosh, like I don't think anyone who comes into the picture is just going to be very, very lucky. And also you'll know where your boundaries are, and you'll feel so much stronger that you will know what you want out of life, and that will just make for a better, wholesome relationship. And it's a very, very
of course
thing. Yeah. So we've got to the point now where we're talking about what can we do to balance the Swadhisthana. So just like we did with the other chakra, all the chakras, the same methods are used, but obviously the focus will be on different elements. So like last time was the root chakra, and this time is a Swadhisthana. So Kundalini yoga obviously works on all the chakras, but like I said, we focus on one chakra at a time. And you've got meditations. You've got meditations that are actually designed for one chakra. Each chakra has got a meditation as well. Or you can just do a whole meditation, or just sit down in silence and concentrate on your breathing. And that does a lot of stuff too. So yeah, then you've got hatha yoga, and there's a lot of other types of yoga that help. But I find hatha yoga very, very powerful because of the sun salutations that you're doing, and you're experiencing that shift of energy, and especially when in Swadhisthana, it was cobra. I think it's a cobra pose, if I'm not mistaken, or the upward dog. That the focus then goes down to the pubic bone. So that's really good for the Swadhisthana chakra.
Yeah, there's a lot of asanas or yoga postures that are focused on each chakra. And so, if, people want to engage you or me or whoever and have like say I'm really interested in learning some of these asanas for this specific chakra to help move that energy. The hatha yoga portion is actually the physical movement that can help unblock that energy or help get that energy moving. And so people think, especially in a Western society, people think, oh, yoga or hatha yoga or asanas, it's for physical health. Well, yeah, sure, of course. Why not? But it goes so much deeper. It goes so much deeper because it can be incorporated into a Kundalini yoga practice, a meditation practice with very specific asanas to target the chakra that you're working on. So it's not just, a bundle of different movements to see, oh, how strong am I at this? How long can I hold this? How long can I stand on my head? Or it's, yeah, sure, if you want to use it for that, fantastic. It's good for lots of different things, but there are very specific reasons why these postures are done the way they're done. And sometimes even the sequence that they're done in is meaningful to moving that energy too. So if you want to know more about that, just let us know.
Yeah, let us know, and you can hire us as well. We can give you one-to-one direction and help you achieve what it is that you want to achieve. whether it's one chakra or all the chakras. So it's
Of
a
course.
powerful experience. So yeah. So and Jen does amazing sound bowl healing. She's a sound bowl healer, and so you could always ask her for support in that, and she's happy to give you sessions, aren't you, Jen?
I'll do the best. I don't have the best audio or recording equipment right now, but I do have a lot of references from YouTube and from Spotify that I can share that I use regularly. And of course, if you're near me, I'm in Belgium. It's always best to do it in person.
Obviously,
So
with the pandemic,
willing.
how much we can do in person, but yeah. But I think the best way is like if you know, with the recording side of things, if you like you were saying about doing it in your bathroom because of the echo sound, then that might be a possible thing. But whoever is tuning in, I suggest use headphones, use earplugs or something so that you can
Yeah.
hone into the sounds, because binaural beats are amazing and they work very powerfully as well. But yes, I
Mm-hmm.
believe it's down to how things are recorded, but you have to make the best of what you've got. So, you know, if anything, we've got all the information, so come to us.
Sure.
So and Jen does Reiki as well, so she'll be able to help you out with that.
Of
Um, I,
course.
I've done Qigong and I've taught Qigong, so it's to do with the movement of energy, um, and you can use the energy for healing. So it's similar to Reiki, but it's much more physical, isn't it? Because I think with Reiki,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, it's much more physical. You get a really good amount of sweat. And with Tai Chi, it's like art. It's like moving in water. It's like walking in water. But because the focus is so precise, you are actually healing while you're actually working through it. So it's quite
Mhm.
it's very powerful. But it does take time to build up because you have different stages in Tai Chi. And what we can
Of
all
course.
take advantage of is nature. Nature's around us. So get out there, get grounding, you know, take care of your nutrition. And again, if you want nutritional support or help, my partner Ed, he's actually a vegan nutritionist, so he can give you a meal plan or whatever it is that you need. So it's about getting the balance of your lifestyle, your holistic life, your mental life, your physical and nutritional life all into balance. And once you've got that, you know, on an even keel, and people think, oh, I just need to cut down on this and eat more of that, or take more of this exercise. It's not that simple. You know, we can actually help you out with a tailored program if that's what you'd like, you know, so we can really help you get to that stage emotionally, physically, mentally, you name it. So
And remember, the sacral chakra is the perfect chakra to work on your diet and your nutrition because it is focused on the vegetarian diet. So,
and also it focuses on taste, and you'd be surprised, it actually changes your
mhm.
taste for things, and that's a quite surprising thing, because when we did the work that you did that workshop, there were a few things that I had gone off. And I was like, I remember it, one of those things were oats, and I was eating a lot of oats and a lot of oats, and then you were making those overnight oats, I remember, and then for for a while, then after that I went off them. I was just like, I can't eat any more oats for a while, and my body just didn't want it. But now I'm craving oats. I can eat lots of oats now, but for that period of time, something must have happened that made me really don't want it anymore.
Your
So
taste will change. My friend Rebecca and I, she's actually on this group too. She might see this, but we were talking just maybe a couple months ago that we were both coffee drinkers, right?
yes,
And not like excessive coffee drinkers. We're just talking like 1 cup in the morning, right? Um, and one day we were FaceTiming and she was drinking her coffee and she's just like, and I'm like, what is that? And she's like, I just don't like it anymore. And I said, me either. Something has happened where like I've always enjoyed it. And then now it just tastes bitter. It doesn't appeal to my taste anymore. And
yeah,
so sometimes these things happen and you wonder like, what's going on? I've always liked this. Why don't I like it anymore? It's just things are changing. You might have changed something in your life or changed the way you think about something or energy is moving and then your tastes are different, you
and
know? It
might
can happen.
they might change back again, because I went through a period where I really went off red wine. Like, I could not take red wine. And just recently, I had when we had the new year, I had a glass of red wine and I really enjoyed it. And it's like, oh, this is nice. I'm not going to make a habit of it, but it's just like, the taste is coming back. So that was interesting. And I think maybe it served a point, because foods or drinks, even though some stuff we label as being negative, but if you really tune into yourself and you have it when you feel your body really wants it and you fancy it, or you don't fancy it so you don't have it, that's when things happen, when changes happen. We don't understand it nutritionally or on a physical level, we don't get it, but something's going on inside our cells that they crave certain elements, you know. So maybe those ingredients have those elements that we actually need. So yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, and I did tell her this, because when I was still in California, where she's located, we'd practice sound healing on each other. Oh. And we were working on the sacral chakra, odd enough. And so we had stayed on this chakra for a couple of weeks. We were working on it just for different reasons. And because I'm a procrastinator of the greatest degree. And then, you know, she was dealing with some things too. And she's like, I want to focus on, I was like, good. So I was treating her. But when you are, you know, doing sound healing or Reiki, when you're treating someone, you're also treating yourself.
Yeah.
So you tend to feel the impact and the movement of the energy. And it wasn't long after this that, you know, when I ended up moving to Belgium and then we're FaceTiming, she's like, I don't like coffee anymore. And I said, me either. And then so now talking about how it affects the taste, it makes sense that we were doing so much sound healing on the sacral chakra that our taste in coffee just went away.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Things happen, you know.
You can't scientifically make sense of it, you know. It just happens. And this is the beauty, or the magic, if you like, of working on chakras, is that your body is healing on such a deep level. It's doing stuff and you're not aware of it, and you really don't know. You can't say, oh, I'm not going to have this today, I'm not going to have that today. You might really crave it, and you have to just go against it, you know, and just do what you feel is right, you know, your gut.
Yeah.
This is why it's really important to be intuitive, and that's where meditation comes in, because it gets you inside your whole being, inside your whole system, you know, it's inside the subtle body, so you're aware.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So so we talk about nutrition, and the other thing is, we talked about last time, is try and take some time out of modern technology, because modern technology has a lot of distractions, has a lot of different screens, has a lot of different things. And once you've watched this, you can, you know, unplug and go out into nature, because like when you're connected on your phone, it's not just the stuff that you see on the phone, but it's also the vibrations and the ions and the signals that it's sending off, you know. Lots of things come up all the time, and it's doing things to you, you know, as you're just sitting there, you know. So it's good to
exactly. And nothing helps you procrastinate more than technology.
Oh my god. Rolling through Facebook.
Exactly. Nothing helps you procrastinate more. So put it down.
Yeah, cut it down. At least try and aim to get an hour off if you can, you know, an hour off a day. And while you're out walking, leave your phone behind, you know, or at least mute it. Just take some time out and enjoy nature. You know, that's my big recommendation. Apart from that, spend time being happy with what's real. And when I mean what's real, what's tangible, what you can feel, you know, people around you, although that's kind of hard at the moment, but you know, people that you have got around you, appreciate them, you know, and also be in the present, be in the now. So we're in this wonderful time, although the whole world might not think it's wonderful, but I do think there's elements of amazing aspects to it, that you get the time to focus and renew yourself, and to focus on healing and being a new person for when we get out of it. Then, you know, you're much more developed, and you've had all the time to really focus on yourself and your own, you know, self.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing about the Swadhisthana is it's the seat of creativity.
Yeah.
And so I saw on the page you had posted about singing lessons.
Yeah.
So I will say, when I was in India, and I've always wanted to sing, I can sing. Oh, I can sing. It just doesn't sound good. So I had asked Katrina, I'm like, can you give me singing lessons, and it was really good. And now I'm not trying to sing well for anyone or to record a hit album by any means. I like to sing around the house or sing to my dog. I think she likes it, but also she's going deaf, so that helps her aspect too. But because this is where the seed of creativity lies, singing, you typically associate with the throat chakra, but when you're singing, you're also being creative. You're creating sounds, you're creating vibrations. And so if you are interested in singing, get a hold of Katrina and have her help you work on how to open things up and make better sounds, because it really will change things. Just do something creative, color, knit, paint something, sing something, just do something creative. And that's the focal point for this chakra here.
Because when you're singing, the vibrations that you make are internal inside your body. And so if you're feeling happy when you're singing, or even when you're feeling sad when you're singing, it's lethargy. It's like you're getting rid of all this kind of like stuck energy that's inside. And so when you're feeling sad songs, you're really emotionally going with it, which in the end leaves you feeling happy. So, that's a very good experience. And
It's
the good thing about having proper singing lessons, because I'm a trained vocalist, opening up the throat and opening up the sounds in your diaphragm is really, you might think, oh, I can't sing, but you'd be quite surprised, if you had a couple of singing lessons, you'd be able to get into that sound and really make a really strong vibration that is empowering, even if it's just to say it's a different experience, isn't it? Like once you've had a singing lesson, you say after that, like, wow.
It's true.
Much,
And like I'll sing about breakfast in the morning, just anything, like what I feel like having that day. And one morning my husband was in the kitchen and I was just singing about breakfast. And I turn and I look and he's just looking at me like, and he said, "Thank you for taking me to your church today." And I just lost it. It had became my ritual. Like he had noticed that in the mornings I was singing about the weather, breakfast, how the kettle wouldn't get hot fast enough. So I would like sing motivational things to the kettle. Like it was just funny. And he's like, every day you just take me to church. And so just sing, just be creative, just
singing's fantastic. Yeah.
Do something fun. Even if you're the only one enjoying it, that's all that matters.
It doesn't matter because all things that are fun to us are healing, so as long as it's not like, overeating or stuff like that, because that's not helpful to you, so
yeah, just sing it out.
Sing it out. So singing and sound healing. So Jen, I'll leave that one over to you.
Yeah, so we'll just go through these two really quick because they're things that you're going to do on your own. So your meditation homework for this week, and if meditation is a scary word to you, your sit and be quiet homework for the week is on these last two slides that'll be posted with the video. And so, of course, sacral chakra sound healing is used to bring about change. So it's going to allow us to better understand your emotions, but also the emotions of those around you. So to interpret your surroundings emotionally. It aids in unlocking creative energy. So maybe you'll start singing about your breakfast as well. It stimulates lymphatic, circulatory, and reproductive systems, right? And of course, it aids in healing and helping the bladder, kidneys, and large intestine, because that large intestine is lower than, because the manipura, we're going to focus a little bit higher on the small intestine and the stomach. And then, of course, in the second to last slide that you'll see in the PowerPoint, I posted a YouTube link. I think it's the one I used. It's a 3-hour long Tibetan sound bowl sacral chakra healing for 3 hours. You don't have to do the whole 3 hours. If you do 15 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever. Sometimes I just play it in the background when I'm doing things or doing computer work. But if you want to sit and do a meditation with it, it's fantastic for that as well. And to go with that, for self-Reiki for this week, I have the mantras that you will say aloud. And so they're similar to the mantras that Katrina recited out loud last week. So only the best energies are coming to me. I'm a clear, open, receptive channel for the universal life energy. I am absolute. I am love. And the last one is the one that changed. This week it's I feel. So last week for Muladhara was I'm aware. This week it's I feel. And the hand positions, so if you are in a seated meditating position, I find it's easier to place the hands like this. And then you're going to put the bottom hand, the hand that's on the bottom, the pinky, just right on top of the pubic bone. Because your sacral chakra is below your belly button and like right at that pubic bone area on the front of your body, the castrum. And so that's where you're going to place your hands. Now, if you're lying down in a meditative position, in a Shavasana, then you can place your hands kind of at a V like this, and then more towards the pubic bone area, similar to the position of last week. But if you can, try to keep them stacked on each other, because then you better capture the sacral chakra with that hand position for self-Reiki. And then, of course, while you're listening to your sound healing for sacral chakra, and you have your hand positions for self-Reiki, after you say your affirmations that are on the slide, then you're going to focus on the Swadhisthana, the characteristics. You can focus on the color. You can repeat the mantra to yourself, I feel, I feel. You can focus on a crocodile. You can focus on maybe trying to say, hey, I'm going to try to eat more vegetarian this week, just kind of like focusing on your diet, your nutrition, things that associate with the chakra, however you're most comfortable doing that. And for whatever comfortable length of time that you want to do it for. Don't torture yourself. Be kind to yourself. Even if you do 5 minutes a day, it's better than nothing. So give it a try. And if you have any questions, you can message me and let me know on the page or in private message, whatever you like.
Yeah. Feel free to comment after you've watched this. I'm thinking that I'm not just going to put this within the group. Obviously, the group's going to get it first. But I thought, seeing that no one is here to comment, you could actually also share this video. Feel free to share this video with your group, with your friends, family, you name it, because it could be helpful as well. So
Sure.
we're gonna pre-record these sessions in the future, because I think it means that you guys have a chance to watch it and comment later and just take the time, rather than feel like you have to do that at a certain time. So,
yeah. And it can be a good continuing discussion throughout the week.
Yeah. So we'd love to. We really, really want to hear from you. So please feel free to comment. No comment is a stupid comment, honestly. Anything, okay? So we'd just love to hear from you. So until next week. Next week's going to be the Manipura. So it's all about the gut next week, and our ability to get up and do things. So that's it from us today. And I'm just going to say namaste and thank you for joining us.
Namaste. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye. And I take it we end this and then we get recording. See you soon.
We'll see what happens.
Bye.
Bye.